Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the first of 3 training webinars related to the recent changes to ODS reporting. Today's webinar is focused on registering with CDX. My name is Emily Gala. I'm a contractor with ICF that has been supporting EPA's ODS reporting program for the past 10 years, and I'll be leading us through today's presentation. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. First, today's webinar is being recorded. The recording will be made available on EPA's website. All lines are currently muted and will remain muted throughout the presentation. If you have questions, please use the chat feature to ask your question, and at the end, I'll do my best to answer all of them. For today's webinar, I will provide an introduction to CDX, go over the steps for registering for first-time users and existing CDX users, discuss organization IDs in more detail, discuss steps for updating and deactivating CDX accounts. Also, I want to point out that the information in this webinar is also covered in the guidance document on registering with CDX, which is available on EPA's website. What is CDX? CDX is the Central Data Exchange, which is the online platform used by EPA for electronic reporting. ODS is one of many EPA programs that uses CDX for electronic data submissions. All users will need to register with CDX. If you've never used CDX before, you'll need to create a CDX account. If you have used CDX before for another program but have not used it for ODS reporting, you'll need to register with the ODS program in CDX. Next, I'll walk through the steps for registering for first-time users. First, you'll visit the CDX website at cdx.epa.gov and select Register with CDX. Next, you'll need to locate ODS from the program services. You can do this by either scrolling down the page to find ODS, or you can enter ODS in the search bar at the top, and it will appear there for you to select. Next, you'll be asked to fill in your user information. This includes a user ID, your first and last name, and then a password, and you'll have to select 3 security questions as well. This information is critical to remember since you will need it to log back into CDX and also each time you submit a report in CDX. Next, you'll be asked to select your organization ID. If you know your organization ID or name, you can search for it using the search bar and then select from the list of existing entries in CDX. If someone from your company has previously submitted an ODS report to EPA through CDX, you should register under the same ID as your colleague. If someone from your organization has not previously used CDX for submitting ODS reports, then you can select whichever organization is most appropriate for you. If your organization does not already appear in CDX, you can request to add a new organization by selecting the link at the bottom. I'll go a bit more into organization IDs later in the presentation. Next, You'll need to enter your email, phone number, and a fax number if you'd like. And then you'll select Submit your request for access. Once you've submitted your request for access, you will receive an email at the email address you just entered. You'll need to locate that email and click on the link provided and log back into CDX to then activate your account. The final step in registration is to verify your identity. This can be done through either electronic verification or paper verification. Electronic verification uses an independent third-party electronic identity proofing service, which is LexisNexis. Paper verification involves printing and signing your agreement and sending it to EPA through U.S. postal mail. We strongly encourage the use of the electronic verification process because it provides immediate access to the system. For paper verification, you won't have access to the system until we receive in the mail your agreement and activate your account. If you choose electronic verification, you'll be asked to enter your address, date of birth, and the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. And then you'll need to select Proceed with Verification. You'll be asked 5 questions that you'll need to answer. You'll then see the electronic signature agreement, which you can sign electronically. At this point, you'll be asked to enter your account password and answer one of the security questions you created at the beginning. If you choose to use the paper verification method, you can select this by clicking paper verification at the bottom of your screen. You'll then print the electronic signature agreement, sign it, and send it to EPA at the address provided in the agreement. We expect it will take roughly 7 to 10 days for us to receive that agreement, at which point we will activate your account, and you'll be notified by email when your account has been activated. For those of you that have used CDX before to submit electronic data for other EPA programs, you can log into CDX using your account information. You'll then need to select Add Program Service, at which point you'll be prompted to find ODS in the program service list, and you will then follow the same steps that we just went through. As I mentioned before, I do want to discuss organization IDs in more detail. Each organization in CDX is assigned a unique 5 to 7-digit ID. This ID is used by the tracking system to identify the reporting entity of each submission. We are requiring the use of a consistent organization ID by individuals in your company moving forward. This is so that EPA can correctly track your reports. It is also beneficial to you because all registered users under the same organization ID have access to the same submission history table in CDX. Once you have registered, we do request that you send an email to Mike James and myself to notify us of the organization ID that you'll be using moving forward for ODS reports. We do recognize that company names may change in the future due to mergers or acquisitions or other circumstances. If this is the case and you would like to change the organization under which you submit data in CDX, that is okay. We just do request that you send us an email notifying us of your company's name change and the new organization name and ID that you will be using. We do ask that you keep your CDX account information up to date, as we do rely on it for our information. If you need to update your account, you can do so by logging in and going to the My Profile tab and selecting Modify User Information. Here, you can update your password and your security questions. You can also update your organization information by scrolling down on that page and selecting the Modify Organization Information button. This will allow you to edit your phone number or fax, change your email as well. Email addresses, phone numbers, and fax numbers are tied to an organization rather than your account. Finally, if you are no longer submitting data on ODS, or if you leave your organization, we do request that you deactivate your account. To deactivate your own account, you can go into the Modify Program Services from the My Profile tab and locate your account and select Deactivate. If somebody in your organization leaves and you would like their account to be deactivated, you may notify Mike James and we can deactivate their account for you. A few additional resources to mention before we wrap up. First, EPA recently hosted a webinar on the upcoming changes to ODS reporting. This webinar recording is available on EPA's website. EPA also has guidance documents available on registering with CDX, preparing data for submission, and submitting data to EPA, which are all available online. Finally, we have 2 additional training webinars coming up on preparing ODS submissions and submitting data through CDX. These webinars will also be recorded, and those recordings will be made available online. At this time, I'm happy to take any questions.